Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. United Poland, one of the three parties that make up the ruling United Right coalition, has announced that it remains opposed to the recovery plan presented by Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. The plan will have to be ratified by the Polish Parliament. If the entire opposition and United Poland vote against the plan, the government will not have a majority in favour of ratification. The parliaments of the other 26 member states of the European Union will also have to ratify their own plans in order for the money from the European Union's €750 billion recovery fund to start flowing. If the EU's recovery fund is not ratified by all 27 member states, the initiative will fail and it's back to the drawing board. From the very beginning, Solidarity Poland announced that it would not support the plan because of the threat of the joint debt of member states and will probably vote against, although talks are continuing. The second coalition partner of Law and Justice has no objections. Now Poles, not a fraction, A or B or any politician, need funds. We need to work out such a solution where no group of people will be ignored. Confederation declared yesterday that it won't support the National Recovery Plan. This national fund, which is a package of institutional and financial solutions, is based on debt mutualisation. Confederation will vote against. The ruling Law and Justice Party count on the votes of the Left Party, and MEP Leszek Miller supports the national fund. If the ratification isn't supported in the Polish Parliament, and if it fails, it means not only will Poland suffer, but also all EU countries. And I want to underline this, that the recovery fund will not apply anywhere. Civic Coalition, although at the beginning in favour of adopting the EU Reconstruction Fund, now criticises the project and, together with the Polish People's Party, is demanding an extraordinary session of Parliament to debate the plan. The opposition generally behaves in an anti-state way in our beloved Poland, which is very sad. They argue about everything. Today they try to do this out of spite, saying that they will not support the National Recovery Programme. It's just ridiculous, because this is the money from the European Union that is simply owed to us. This is not grace from Brussels. These are negotiated funds. Consultations on the National Reconstruction Plan will end on the 2nd of April. Austrian Prime Minister Sebastian Kurz has revealed that secret negotiations between European health officials and pharmaceutical companies at some kind of bazaar has led to an unfair distribution of COVID-19 vaccine doses within the European Union. According to the Prime Minister, the level of inequality will only increase in the next couple of months, with some countries receiving more than double the amount per capita compared to other European Union member states. The Austrian Chancellor called for transparency and told reporters that some states lag behind significantly in the vaccination process due to the unequal treatment. The deliveries are not based on member states' populations. It appears that there are plans that this practice will even intensify in the coming months, and that the differences between member states will become larger and larger. The Netherlands would not only get more doses per head than its neighbouring country, Germany, until the end of June, but also twice as much as Croatia. These delivery plans are clearly contrary to the political goal of the European Union, which is that all member states should get an equal number of vaccines per head. These delivery ideas also don't correspond with what the heads of state and government agreed on. The Prime Minister lambasted the deals of the steering board for being secret and called for full transparency. I believe we urgently need full transparency on the agreements between this steering board and the pharmaceutical companies. On a national level, I fully agree with Vice-Chancellor Werner Kogler that we need to find out who signed these deals and why we moved away from the goal of fair distribution in Europe. Worried about the slow pace of the vaccine rollout, Austria has decided to strike up cooperation with Denmark and Israel. The three countries plan to build a joint vaccine-producing facility in Israel. The Hungarian and Czech Prime Ministers have travelled to Israel to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss policies to fight COVID-19 as a third wave of the coronavirus pandemic sweeps across Central Europe. Both countries hope that Israel will be able to help them speed up their vaccination process. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban told the Israeli side that Hungary supports its initiative for vaccination passports.
Plus, at the same time, we made an agreement that Hungary is happy to join the international green card proposal initiated by your Prime Minister. And Hungary is happy to join. We would not like to wait for any big international organization. we would like to act at the national level and to make an alliance and deal with other countries. And Prime Minister, be happy that Hungary would like to be sure that Hungary would be happy to join to that initiative.
Netanyahu, who has said 90% of eligible Israelis have either received at least one dose of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine or recovered from the virus, has made Israel's vaccination program a showcase of his campaign for re-election on the 23rd of March.
To see how we can involve both the Czech Republic and Hungary in the international plant that we want to build here in Israel for the production of the vaccines of the future. And we discuss this in considerable detail. I have to say that there's interest, as you will soon hear, on cooperating on this.
Israel said last month that it was giving small amounts of surplus COVID-19 vaccines to Palestinians, Honduras and the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic said that it had received a small Israeli shipment. The country inaugurated earlier on Thursday a diplomatic presence to its Jerusalem office, a move short of opening a full embassy in the city. Dozens of countries, including the United States, today called on Russia to release Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, saying that his imprisonment was unlawful and demanding an investigation into his poisoning last year. In a statement read out by Poland to the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, they said that actions by Russian authorities against the opposition leader were unacceptable and politically motivated. The 45 countries were mainly European, but also included Australia, Canada and Japan. Navalny, a prominent critic of President Vladimir Putin, was jailed for 2.5 years last month over alleged parole violations related to an embezzlement case he said was trumped up for political reasons, something the authorities deny.
We call on Russia for the immediate and unconditional release of Mr. Navalny and of all those unlawfully and arbitrarily detained, including for exercising their rights to freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of expression and freedom of religion or belief. We urge Russia to respect its obligations under international human rights law, as members elected to the Council shall uphold the highest standards in the promotion and protection of human rights.
We are also concerned by the large number of arbitrary arrests of protesters who are expressing their support for Mr. Navalny in many Russian cities, the statement added. Russia has previously described such criticism as an interference in its internal affairs. On Friday, Navalny's lawyer said that he had been moved from a jail in Russia's Vladimir region and his whereabouts were unknown. Mark Kasaira, United States Chargé d'Affaires, in a speech to the United Nations Human Rights Council, urged Russia to unconditionally release Navalny, as well as hundreds of others he said were being unlawfully detained in Russia.
We reiterate our call for the Russian government to immediately and unconditionally release Alexei Navalny and hundreds of other Russian citizens detained for exercising their rights.
The United States and the European Union have imposed sanctions on Russian individuals and entities over the Navalny case. The Kremlin called the moves absurd, unjustified and void of any real impact. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.